everyone, it's Alex Eala here. I can't wait to play in front of all the fans at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open this February. Make sure to get your tickets and I hope to see you soon.
I got someone on my mind. No more rest, no Lord, take me downtown.
Hello everyone, this is Alex Eala. I am so excited to play at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open in February in front of all the spectators. I hope to see you soon, and please be sure to purchase your tickets. In the midst of the Australian Open drama, Alexandra Eala's revelation of illicit racket technology after a crushing defeat in Auckland has sparked a scandal in the tennis world. Welcome back to tennis, your go-to source for the most honest and unvarnished tennis news. If you believed that the enthusiasm in Australia was solely focused on who will win the trophy, you should reconsider because what is emerging has the potential to upend the fundamental underpinnings of professional tennis. This could be the largest equipment dispute in the Women's Tennis Association's current history. It also has everything: secret investigations, heartbreak, accusations of technological cheating, and a young celebrity who refused to keep quiet when things didn't feel right. The 20-year-old Filipino phenomenon, Alexandra Eala, has won over fans all over the world and is now at the center of a tale that has the potential to completely change the sport. Alexandra Eala has gained admirers all across the world thanks to her perseverance and talent. However, she is now at the center of a tempest involving Sinuong, the powerful Chinese company whose scam might have been concealing a secret that could alter our understanding of fair competition. What was meant to be a simple semi-final matchup has instead become what some are referring to as a technological warfare crime scene. The world of tennis is in shock. The message boards are ablaze. Accusations and counter-accusations are proliferating on social media. Eala stands in the middle of it, wiping away her tears but refusing to back down from what she saw on the Auckland court. Fans witnessed Eala's face after nearly 3 hours of intense play and the devastating scoreline. However, the covert controversy that was there throughout the game went unnoticed until now. This isn't simply about a young player's ambitions, being crushed at the last hurdle or a semi-final defeat. It concerns a possible cover-up that could extend to the highest echelons of the tennis establishment, including tournament officials, equipment makers, and even regulating bodies tasked with maintaining the integrity of the sport. Today, we go farther than anybody else has dared, disclosing first-hand information on the explosive charge Eala made just after leaving the courtroom, as well as a technical analysis of the alleged secret weapons Sinuong is accused of using like a hidden ace. According to insider knowledge, the World Anti-Doping Agency and the Technical Committee of the International Tennis Federation have joined the inquiry into Sinuong's purported racket advantage, underscoring the seriousness of the matter. Alexandra Eala is preparing for her first-ever Australian Open main draw match against the formidable American player Alicia Parks by harnessing her anger and sense of unfairness among the mayhem. The tennis community didn't want this scandal to become public since it could permanently alter professional tennis. The alleged crime occurred on January 10, 2026, at the ASB Classic semi-finals in Auckland, New Zealand. The stadium was electrifying, humming with a certain energy that arises when something amazing takes place. The 20-year-old pride of the Philippines, Eala, was arguably having her best tennis match ever. Thanks to a strong increase in rankings, she recently guaranteed her place in the Australian Open main draw. However, the focus soon turned from victory to controversy. It was a huge accomplishment for Eala to make it to the Australian Open main draw. She was now looking for her final participation on the second WTA Tour. A moment of breakthrough in every way. The 7th-seeded player in the competition, Senyu Wang of China, was standing across the net. She was renowned for her flat, piercing ground strokes that looked to cut through the air like lasers. The showdown was supposed to be spectacular, and for almost 3 hours, it produced a gladiatorial fight worthy of classical Rome. Eala was all over the court, painting lines with unbelievable accuracy and using her lefty forehand to find angles that appeared to defy geometry. As she produced an incredible exhibition of ability and resiliency, commentators ran out of adjectives. Eala mounted an incredible comeback, winning 6 straight games to capture the set 7-5 after falling behind 1-5 in the first set, and facing what might have been a devastating blowout. This is a monument to the tenacity, mental toughness, and resolve that set champions apart from the others. The stadium exploded with fans. The appreciation went viral on social media. But in the midst of the wonder, an odd thing started to happen. At home, watchful watchers began to spot irregularities that would eventually spark a controversy that rocked professional tennis. As the game went on, remarks about Wong's extraordinary prowess started to circulate on social media. During the broadcast, commentators struggled to explain what they were seeing and mumbled in astonishment. Every time Eala appeared to have Wong trapped or on the defensive, Wong managed to produce shots with unexplainable speed from defensive positions. This was not a show of resolve or adrenaline. The fundamental physics rules governing the sport appeared to be broken by these strokes. With a 5-3 lead in the second set, Eala was one swing away from the final and all the glory it promised. She also served for the match and held a match point. Then, without giving Ellen a chance to respond, Wong unleashed a barrage of forehands that not only landed inside the lines, but also rocketed off the court with unbelievable speed. Wong seemed to have activated a superhuman power by flipping a switch. Additionally, there was a discernible difference in the racket's sound, which would play a significant role in the ensuing controversy. The stadium spectators recognized something was wrong right away. Additionally, you can hear it if you turn up the level while watching the video. Every time Wong made contact, the arena reverberated with a harsh metallic ping that was significantly different from the typical thud of a tennis ball striking strings. Even Eala was unable to ignore it. She frequently glanced at Wong's equipment between changeovers, her eyes narrowing suspiciously as her mind raced to comprehend the unbelievable force she was up against. For Eala admirers, Wong's return was terrible. After eliminating Eala's match point, she won the second set 7-5. In the third set, she overcame a 4-5 deficit to win 6-4. It looked heroic on paper. It felt much darker behind the scenes. Devastated, Eala left the court. The unadulterated heartache of being so close and yet so far away was captured in her Instagram post. Away from the cameras and Wong's post-match praise, however, Eala's sorrow turned into skepticism, resentment, and ultimately a desperate need for clarification. Choking under pressure was not the issue here. She saw it as a struggle fought on an uneven technological battlefield. The tennis community moved on. For a few days, hailing the semifinal as an immediate classic. However, Eala was persuaded that something unusual and prohibited had occurred on that court as a result of the event. Although pundits and observers lauded the semifinal for its intensity, shot-making, and both players' extraordinary mental toughness, the hush surrounding the strange events only encouraged conjecture until Alexandra, like a tsunami smashing over an unwary beach, Eala broke the silence. Eala formally protested the match outcome to tournament administrators, a move that shocked the WTA establishment and sent shockwaves across the professional tennis industry. Even if her health problems during the match were important, she wasn't just bringing them up. She was making accusations that could completely upend the sport and were far more ominous. Eala allegedly informed her team, "I know what I felt out there," in a private discussion that was leaked to insiders. Even on what should have been straightforward block shots, the ball was returning more quickly than I was striking it. It's not organic. It is not humanly feasible. The work is being done by technology. The tennis world was shocked by her following public comments. She formally accused Sinu Wong of using a racket that had what Eala called a power-enhancing kinetic dampening system, a piece of experimental technology that is purportedly currently undergoing covert testing by a significant equipment manufacturer. Ella's legal complaint claims that Wong's racket had power-enhancing technology that has not been authorized for WTA competition by any governing body and is currently undergoing prototype testing. Give that some thought. Experimental technology being utilized in an official competition without approval. Ella's well-chosen statements, which effectively called for Wong to be forfeited, went viral throughout the tennis community when she asked the organizers to reevaluate the match's results. As a result, an unprecedented action in contemporary professional tennis was reversed. Although there have been scandals in the sport involving drugs, improper coaching, or even gamesmanship during toilet breaks, this accusation goes farther and targets a piece of equipment that has the potential to significantly change the game's mechanics. The issue is reminiscent of the notorious spaghetti string controversy of the 1970s, when a groundbreaking stringing pattern briefly enhanced professional tennis before being outlawed for providing players with an unfair technical edge. A innovative, stringing pattern band emerged as a result of the 1970s spaghetti string controversy, which drastically changed the game of tennis. However, Eala may have much more serious accusations now. According to her, the prototype materials used in Wong's racket frame may include what engineers refer to as a piezoelectric core, which can stiffen upon contact and return about 20% more energy to the ball than a typical graphite frame. If this is accurate, Wong would have a mechanical advantage well beyond what is permitted in a competitive setting. Ella's accusation sparked an emotional and quick response. According to reports, her coach got into a violent argument with tournament organizers and demanded that Wong's racket be seized for forensic examination. Ella's accusation was so explicit that it prompted regulatory organizations to act right away, citing unauthorized prototype materials and covert testing procedures. They couldn't just brush it off. The World Anti-Doping Agency, which typically focuses on biological doping, has teamed up with the technical committee of the International Tennis Federation to conduct an investigation, according to sources. Although it is unusual for WA to become involved in an equipment dispute, the possibility of unapproved performance-enhancing technology being used in official competition is thought to be substantial enough to require their supervision. WATADA's Spirit of Sport rule, which permits the agency to look into any tool or technique that seriously compromises the human element of competition, even if the benefit is technological rather than pharmaceutical, was also triggered by the charge against Wong. A racket is seen as a significant infraction, much like using a prohibited substance, if it can do the tasks that skill and training are intended to accomplish. The tennis world has been horrified by preliminary findings from the probe that were revealed to our sources. Significant irregularities in the carbon fiber layup, including microcavities filled with a non-Newtonian fluid, a material that solidifies under stress and adds extra force to high-impact collisions, were purportedly discovered by forensics scans of Wong's seized racket. Beyond the technical dispute, Eala's impact is being felt in the Philippines. She spoke candidly and modestly in interviews in Melbourne about how her ascent has brought attention to tennis, which has historically been eclipsed by basketball in her nation. The cultural influence she is having is demonstrated by anecdotes about public courts that are completely booked and young admirers who are eager to take up a racket. Like Manny Pacquiao did for boxing, Eala is inspiring a generation in the Philippines by giving young athletes the chance to dream big and strive for greatness on the international scene. Eala's influence extends well beyond the court. She serves as a role model for a generation of young athletes, demonstrating that they too can strive for greatness by demonstrating that a Filipino can compete at the top levels of international sport. Ellis remarked, "I think people in the Philippines just have to make the first step," concealing the deadly instinct she unleashes when she crosses the white lines with her typical modest smile. The truth is concealed by her modesty. She is spearheading a revolution in Philippine athletics at the age of just 20, which could change the nation's sporting culture. For her home fans, Eala also announced some great news, prioritizing giving back to her local tennis community over ranking points or prize money elsewhere. She will return to Manila to compete in the Philippine Women's Open as a wild card if she doesn't make a deep run in the Australian Open. This devotion shows a commitment to something greater than herself and goes beyond athletics. In terms of competition, Eala's first-round match against American power hitter Alicia Parks on Sunday, January 18th, is challenging but doable thanks to the Australian Open draw. A traditional contrast of styles is promised by the clash. At 1-29 Semper's Parks, who is renowned for her explosive pure power, is tied with Venus Williams for the fastest serve at the US Open. She can serve or hit forehand winners from 3 feet. Behind the baseline with nearly unbelievable accuracy, remove the racket from the opponent's hands, and hit clean winners from inconceivable locations when her timing and confidence coincide. How does it feel to be making your main draw debut? With Melbourne, Alex, you had an amazing year last year. It feels fantastic. I'm ecstatic. Well,